Hi learners! I gotta be honest with you, this is one of my favorite concepts of all time, not only to teach, but also to use in my everyday writing. Today, we're going to talk about direct objects. Now, a direct object is a noun or pronoun that receives the action of the verb. That's the grammar book definition, but I think it's a little bit easier if I show you. I have here a pretend nail, and here I have a comically oversized squeaky hammer. What happens if I take this hammer and do that? I hit the nail, right? Well, the hammer hit the nail. The hammer hit what? The nail. The nail is the direct object. The direct object is who or what receives the action of the subject. The subject is the hammer. The hammer does something. It hits. What does it hit? The direct object, the nail. Now let me talk a little bit about direct objects versus predicate nominatives, because they're both nouns and they both come after the verb, but one of them connects back to the subject. The other does not. Predicate nominatives rename or restate who or what the subject is. My teacher is a writer. Writer and teacher, they're the same thing, predicate nominative. But if I say, Stuart kicked the ball, is Stuart the same thing as a ball? We really hope not. That would cause some questions. Stuart is not the same thing as the ball. So ball is the direct object. It's receiving the action kicks from the subject Stuart. Now you can ask verbs what or verbs whom in order to find the direct object, but be careful because a direct object follows an action done, not a description. So I could say, for example, my coat is red. My coat is what? Red. But red is not a direct object in this case because red describes the coat. Also be careful because not all action verbs have direct objects. Consider the sentence, Jim is running around the block. Jim is running what? He's not running the block. So there's no direct object. When diagramming a direct object, you will use a vertical line between the verb and its direct object, not a backslash. If you watched the previous videos about predicate adjectives and predicate nominatives, you know that I'm super picky about that backslash and how it needs to have that upper left to lower right angle. Now, the reason for that is because direct objects take a vertical line. So if you're drawing a vertical line for a predicate adjective or a predicate nominative, you're in essence saying that the next word is a direct object, and it's usually not. Let me show you a few examples. All right, here's a sentence that contains a direct object. The students saw the nice man. There are, of course, some modifiers in this sentence. You'll rarely see a sentence without them going forward. Who or what is the sentence about? It's about students. And what did they do? They saw. When I'm looking for a direct object, subject verbs the direct object. So I'm thinking who or what did the students see? One word. They saw a man. Man is the direct object. I label it DO for direct object. I go back to the start of my sentence. The is an article. I have another the. It's still an article. And nice is an adjective. Now be careful here. Nice comes after the verb, but is it a predicate adjective? It's not, because I'm not talking about the students who are nice. Nice does not connect to the students at all. Nice describes the man. It's an attributive adjective, so we label it ADJ. Now I'll diagram the sentence. Notice how between saw and man, I have a vertical line that stops at that baseline. It doesn't go past. The only line that goes past is the line between subject and verb. It's vertical, which tells me that this word man is not a predicate nominative. If it was a predicate nominative, I would see a backslash, upper left to lower right. It's not a predicate nominative, it's a direct object, so it gets a vertical line. Also notice how the modifiers are underneath the words that they modify. The modifies students, the and nice modify man. Let me show you another example. Many people have visited the Grand Canyon. My sentence is about people. People what have visited? Many is an adjective. It modifies people. The is an article. And Grand Canyon, that's my direct object because that says what people have visited. People have visited what? The Grand Canyon. Now when I diagram, I keep Grand Canyon on the same line because that whole thing is its name. I'm not saying it's a canyon and it also happens to be grand. It has a full name of the Grand Canyon. Take a look. Here it is. Many people have visited, vertical line, the Grand Canyon. Let me show you one more. Here's the sentence. The old house needs a renovation. I'm thinking to myself, who or what is the sentence about? It's about a house. House what? What's my verb? Needs. Now I start back at the beginning of the sentence. The is an article. Old is an adjective. A is an article. And I'm thinking, what is renovation? Is it renaming the house? Is it describing the house? Well, some might say yes, because it's what the house needs. However, the house and the renovation are not the same thing. If you think about a renovation, it's tearing down, it's moving, it's rebuilding. That's not the same thing as a house. Renovation is a noun, but it's not renaming the house. It must be a direct object. Now I'm ready to diagram. Here it is. The old house needs a renovation. All right, time for you to try some. So get a piece of paper or a whiteboard and get ready to diagram. Here's your first sentence. Stuart has a runny nose. Pause the video, try it on your own. When you're ready, press play and see if you're right. Here's your diagram. How close were you? Excellent. Let's try another. Here you go. He has my book. Pause the video, try it on your own, then start the video up again and see if you're right. Here's your diagram. Did you catch the possessive pronoun my from last lesson? Excellent. Let's try one more. Right. Here's your sentence. That dog wants more food. Go ahead and pause the video and try diagramming it on your own. Did you put the modifiers in the right place? That underneath dog, more underneath food. Fantastic. I'm going to put 3 sentences on the screen now. Go ahead and pause the video, try them on your own, and then press play and see the answers revealed on the board behind me. Here are those diagrams. She likes Minecraft, direct object here. The silly man made a foolish, direct object, decision. 4 children sang beautiful songs. So let's talk about the connection between direct objects and your real-world writing. First of all, this is one of the most useful concepts and one of the most common sentence structures in English writing. The subject-verb-object structure is very, very common, and you might hear it referred to frequently. Secondly, there are a lot of other kinds of objects in grammar. There's indirect objects, objects of preposition, and it starts now with direct objects. So if you hear reference to objects in grammar, know that direct objects is one of those kinds. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Happy writing!